Welcome again, Coach. It's we're delighted to see you here. And today we're going to talk about offense against difference, pick and roll defense. And let's start, Coach. We are with you.
Okay. Hi. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I hope that this half an hour, 40 minutes, maybe more, will be useful for all coaches. I would like to start with a short introduction about how we are. Just a second. Good. Still not 100% sure how this works. So excuse me if there will be some problems, but I hope that during the clinics it will go away. So as we all know, there is probably no team in the world which is not playing pick and roll in some part of the offense. Actually, most offenses in modern basketball either finish or have inside some type of ball screen situations. It could be either pick and roll, pick and pop, handoff, dribble handoff, lots of situations. In Turkish Airlines EuroLeague, almost 40% of half-court offenses have some type of ball screen. And in this situation, it's obvious that teams are working hard on ball screen defense. And they try to invent new ones. Of course, that also goes for NBA League because they are leaders in that. Pick and roll offense became popular very early. It started somewhere in 1970s. Then it was a passing game. Then after that, we had a different type of offenses with dominate either post players or guards. So today it's, as I said, again, very popular. Lots of offenses finish with the pick and roll. I think it's very important when we teach players that they understand what's happening on the court, because there is teams which are changing pick and roll defense not only during the game, but also they can change the pick and roll defense in just one offense. For example, they could start with hedge out, and in the last 7-8 seconds they go to switch. You saw it's very visible if you watch Olympiacos. They have situation when Spanoulis is always going like this last 7-8 seconds, which means we switch everything. We switch on pick and roll. So players needs to be ready. Players needs to understand what's happening, and they can't say, "Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't know it." That's where we need to teach them how to do it. So we will start with switch defense. It's very common defense. It's probably most common defense. And today, when teams are playing with very movable players, when even player on position 5 can defend at least for some seconds, even a point guard, it's became more and more popular again. But this is also probably the first defense what we are teaching our players when we start teaching them pick and roll. So when my team is attacking switch defense, I'm trying to use some basic principles. First of all is about screener. I want him always to run for the screen. Of course, if we run horns, then it's different, but in most cases, if we are not, I want my post player, my screener, to run to set the screen. It has to be good, white, and what we are calling a headhunt screen, which means we set the screen next to the player. We are not setting the screen 1 meter from the player, we're setting the screen on the player. And screener has to hold that screen ideally between 1 and 2 seconds, so we can create any kind of advantage. When we are facing switch defense, our first pass should be pass ahead. I will show it a little bit later. We use reverse pass if we are attacking horns or step up or middle pick and roll situation. As I said, I will show this very quickly. The thing is, when we are setting the screen against switch, that's very important. I'm teaching players that the chest, half of the chest, should be on the shoulder of the defensive player on which we are setting the screen. So that's kind of idea how we are doing this. So here you can see the situation. I use only 3 players here on graph 1. It's very simple. You see player number 5 running to set the screen. Defensive player, we will call it X5, is ready to switch. So the situation is defensive player will call switch, switch, switch. And then it also depends how coaches are teaching. We are teaching our players that if we switch, then defensive player X1 should go under the roller to stop the roller. Because most of the teams do that, I'm teaching my screener, so number 5, to go diagonal. I will explain why a little bit later. Player with the ball attacks the screen, they switch, so we have 2 mismatch. We have 5 against 1 here, and we have 1 against 5 here. Most of the teams try to use mismatch with direct pass inside. By my experience, it doesn't work very often. Or they also use a dribble and try to attack this situation with a jumper. It's not the best idea. It's very important to notice that we have mismatch under the basket here, and we have mismatch here. But also, if we take a shot, we have a good situation under the basket because our big man is usually against the guard. So we have advantage on offensive board. Now, as I said, we use pass ahead. And now, player on position 2, now with the ball, can pass inside. Notice that I want my players, my guys, my big guys, to be in the middle of the paint, not on the block. Because if they go on the block here, help can come from here or even from here. So what we need to have is quick pass from the ball handler to the wing and quick pass inside. That way, we can use the best, this advantage. Of course, in some situation, this pass inside will not be possible. It's either good defense on the ball here, or it's a good defense here, good deny, or this player went out of the paint, so we can't pass inside. Then we will try to use the next advantage, which is here. Now, in this situation, how will the big guy, number 5, defensive player, how will react? When the ball is with number 2, he's not going to stay very close to number 1. He will probably try to go as deep as in paint as possible. When ball goes back to number 1, this player will, of course, try to close out, and this is our chance to attack close out. So this is the first thing how I like to attack switch defense. One of the very good situation when we can attack switch defense is just sliding the screen. So you see it's the similar situation. 5 is running to set the screen, right? And when number 5 defensive players start to call screen, screen, or switch, switch, this player, number 5, just slide inside. And then there is a big misunderstanding, big confusion in defense is created, because defensive player 1 knows that he will switch if there is a screen, but there is no screen. And player 5, defensive player 5, running here, expecting that the screen is going to happen and that number 1 will switch. So when you do it first time, probably this player will be open for an easy pass and easy layup, because it will be first confusion. And second time it could happen that this player could be open, because it will be again confusion here. So we can use this once or twice, maybe 3 times during the game. So just sliding. Of course, if you slide every time, the defense will adapt and it will not be very effective. Now, this is exception of my pass ahead rule. But it could also be good. I will show you how we are doing this. It's very simple. Now, if we set it's a middle screen or step up screen, or it could be even horns. So they try to switch in this situation and we decide to pass the ball ahead. Okay, so post player obviously cannot run diagonal, but has to run as close, as deep in the paint as possible. Now, because the ball is in this corner, we have a help side, so they can switch here. So inside pass from the corner to the post player will not be very effective. It will be very hard to find this solution, very hard. So we are usually not using it. What we are using, we try to pass the ball back to player on position 1 to use this mismatch. As you can see, they made switch here, so we can't use this mismatch. So we have to use mismatch on perimeter. So if this is one pass away defense, this player will slide. So when we attack, if they help, player position 2 is wide open for shot. This is another situation. If X2 goes here and help, then player on position 2 could go behind, we call it loop, could go behind the ball handler and get an open shot. This move here will probably and very likely stop this player to help after it happened once. So he will continue to go with 2, and then our player 1 can go straight to the basket. That's one of idea how to attack switch defense. But as I said, if we attack middle pick and roll or step up pick and roll, we would like to use reverse pass. How we are doing this, it's very simple. We attack here, there is a switch before switch. So it's switch here. We reverse pass back to the middle and then look inside for mismatch between 1 and 5. If this player 4 goes deep to help, this is the reason why we lift our corner player here. We can make again pass inside, pass to player 4, and then from player 4 inside. If those passes 1, 2 are very quick, there is no chance that defensive player 5 will recover. If we are having players here or here who will stop the ball and think twice what they need to do, then probably they will manage to switch back, and then we have 0 advantage. This is why, in my opinion, it's extremely important that we are teaching our players not to hold the ball. No one wants to play with the ball stopper. So we have to send the ball as quick as possible and look for for a mismatch. Holding the ball, faking, whatever, will put us in position that we lose our advantage. And players need to understand that. Of course, if we don't want to pass the ball to player 4, we can always reverse pass to player number 1. And then what we have is, again, mismatch here. In this situation, when this is just one pass away and this player can go here and help, I love to send this player from the corner to the opposite side, so I have complete this side open for my player 1 to attack player 5. It's much easier because if there is, this is situation for one pass away defense and this is situation for one pass away defense, one will very hard be able to attack defensive player 5. So we need to make it easier for him. So at the moment the ball goes back from 2 to 1, 3 cuts to the other side, and we have 1-on-1 situation. It's very important for us. So that was about switching defense. The next defense is contain, flat, drop, shadow. Depends on terminology. Different coaches call it different way. It is likely the second most common defense against pick and roll. Probably one of the oldest. I call it passive or orthodox because it is just that. So basically our big man is waiting to see what's happening. It's not aggressive. In this case, defense is waiting to see what will offense do, not other way around. Again, rules are the same. Screener sprints to screen, set a good wide screen, and tries to hold it. Why to hold it? We want, because defense will go over the screen, we want to hold it and to create advantage either with player with the ball or with the roller. If we set inside screen, which I will show you a bit later, we will always try to attack two-man side. If we attack from the middle pick, we will attack one-man side. We usually don't pass ball ahead, but there is also exception of that rule, and that exception is if our ahead player is open because the help came from his position. I will also show this just a few minutes later. Here is a simple situation. So again, 5 run for the screen. X5 is ready to drop, stay flat, and play defense. The basic idea for number 5, X5 here, is to stop penetration. So his job is to stop penetration and not so much to contest the shot. Job to contest the shot is on ball defender. So X1 has a job to contest the shot usually from behind. Player here, post player, his job is to protect the rim of penetration. My rule when I play this type of defense is when this player 5 is rolling down, my player 5 is going with him. So they are always on the same level. So the pass from 1 to 5 is very hard. But different coaches playing it differently. So help usually on the roller come from the corner player. So this player X3 will help a little bit until X5 comes here. And then he will go back to his man. That's why it's very important that we know this is usual triangle. You see this on every game at least once or twice when teams play this kind of defense. So when number 1 is attacking, usually this corner player, that's why we're lifting it up. Usually this player is wide open. He can use this either for shot, he can use it for penetration, he can use it He can use it for to put the ball on the floor. He can use it for pass inside, depends. Now, what I want to say here, when I start my practice, one of the basic drills, what we are doing is 3-on-0 with a pick and roll, either on the side or on the middle. And at the beginning of the practice, we work what we are going to work later on 3-on-3 and 5-on-5. So if we are teaching offense, we will first run it 3-on-0, then 3-on-3, then 5-on-5. That way we teach offense and defense. So we will run, for example, 3-on-0, that we have a player in the corner, player on 45, and a screener. So we will run 3-on-0 just like this, using this corner. So this is the basic and most common offense. Now, as you can see in the slide number 15, when pick and roll happen and number one is attacking, we want to create a movement on a weak side. This is one important thing. You can use it on every situation, almost on every pick and roll situation. So weak side defenders cannot help when we are running this situation on the strong side. So this could be a hammer screen like we see here, but could also be just exchange of the players. So 2 goes down, 4 goes up, just to make defense busy. A next situation is we see this screen here. It's a little bit closer to the middle, but it's still inside screen. But because of this, we have player 2 who can help. I was watching, I don't remember which team, but it was defense on Luka Doncic when he played for Real Madrid. So number 1 was Luka, and every time he used that screen, this player number 2 would go there and help and try to stop his penetration, while player 1 will run around the screen and sprint to this player. Some teams playing like this. Therefore, to stop this, what we are going to do, we will send this player opposite, as you can see, and send player 2 in the corner. So if this help happens here, we will have an easy pass to this corner player for an open shot. It could happen that also this player in this corner who was running, who was relocating from this corner to this corner, will be open. But it's very important to teach the player that if they make this help here, this player is never open. It's never open because X3 is not helping anymore. So they want to help and stop penetration from 1 pass away. So this player number 3 is not helping like I showed you in the first case. So we have to teach our ball handler that he can pass a bouncing pass or alley-oop to 5, or ahead to the corner players, or finish alone, but very hard reverse pass to player number 3. He is barely open for an open shot. Depends how the teams play defense. If they rotate well, that's a good situation to mention it. Good teams will rotate 4, 5, even 6 times during the game. So if you finish your pick and roll offense just after 1 pass, I doubt that it's a good offense. It's probably bad defense. You have to be ready. Your players need to be ready to defensively, of course, when you play defense, to rotate as much as possible, and offensively to read and react depending of rotation. Now it's a middle pick and roll situation here. It's a middle pick and roll situation here. We will go a little bit later to ice defense. So this is kind of similar situation, but our offense is different. Usually when you play middle pick and roll, I like to attack, as you see, one man's side. How defense react? The player in the first line will make short tag, so a little bump to the roller and get back to defend his own man, as I saw it here. Player in this corner will go all the way and hold the player 5 until number 5 gets back to his position. Therefore, we need to create a good spacing here. And that's why we will, once number 1 goes this way, 4 will go this way, and 3 will relocate to this position. So to make this close out as long as possible. So in this situation, we will swing the ball back to the top and try to look for inside pass or extra pass for an open shot or penetration. Now, again, good teams will rotate with this player, and then we have to pass ahead. So, as I said, then it's a read and react situation. But this is the basic how we can find, and that's the idea of attacking or playing pick and roll, attacking pick and roll with pick and roll. The basic idea is to find advantage wherever possible. The next offense we're going to talk about is offense against hedge or trap. Hedge is a very good defense. It's very aggressive defense, probably the most aggressive one against the pick and roll situations. It's used a lot all around the globe in different levels of leagues, from NBA to EuroLeague to even in young teams basketball. It has a different options. It could be what we are calling it flat hedge, which is almost like a flat defense, what we showed earlier. Could be soft hedge, what we used to call help and recover. Could be strong hedge, which is aggressive and recover, and could be a trap. The basic idea is always the same, and it's to stop penetration or shoot from the ball handler and have a good defensive rotation. My basic principles when we face this type of defense, we would always, when we play side pick and roll, we would always try to attack two-man side. And of course, when we play at the middle, we will always try to attack one-man side because of spacing. After running to set the screen, my screener will not hold. So we saw in previous types that we hold the screen. My screener will set and slide, because I was teaching, and I still do teach my players, and I tell them if they hedge, we slide. So this is what we are doing. This is how we attack. I try to attack hedge out defense with the pass, not with the dribble. Some coaches doing differently, and I respect that. That's fine. That's their choose. And what I'm telling you now, it's my truth. It's not ultimate truth, but it's mine. This is how my teams are doing. So as I said, I like to attack with the pass. So if it's open, we will try to pass ahead, which I will show you a bit. If it's not, if they deny first pass, then we will use short roll and make pass to the short roller. So this is how we are doing it. So as you can see, it's the same situation. We play side pick and roll here. We have side pick and roll. Number 5 goes out and hedge out. What I'm teaching, so 5 came, set the screen, and immediately slide. He's not going to slide here because there is no, he will not get the ball here. It's very hard pass. from here to here, and this player can come and help. So what I'm teaching my players, slide to the middle of the paint. Now, what we have is pass ahead. And if it's open after that pass ahead, we can pass inside. So pass, pass. Now, it depends how the opponent will rotate. There is teams which will say, we help from the strong side corner, like here. Then we can pass inside because it's a mismatch, or we can use skip pass for the corner player for open shot. There is teams who said, we pass from the player who is far away from the ball. So if ball is here, this is far away player. So in this case, the help will come from 4. There is teams which we say, we always help from the second post player, no matter where he is on the court. So he could be here, they will go and help. He could be here, they will go and help, or he could be here, they will go and help with the second post player. We need to be ready to react. So as I said, we can pass inside or pass here. Those are our options. And then usually player on position 4 is a good shooter. He's going to shoot, we find. Of course, here you can see a classic rotation. So if we have a situation that player 4 goes for help and wait until player 5 here is recovering, we will pass ball to player 4. Now, on a good closeout, player 4 will need to put the ball on the floor and attack. Then the help comes from this position to stop the penetration, right? Then we need to make a pass, and those lines are additional rotations. It's very important to know when you play offense, your teams, the other part of the team is playing defense. So force them to rotate so they know what they are going to do when this situation happens. So as I said, and here, next situation on the 27, it's a short roll. So why we are using short roll? When they trap or play strong hedge, and this line, you see, it's denied, we can't pass. And this line is denied, we can't pass. So in this situation, they help always from the last man from the ball, which is this player here. And when we pass ball to number 5, he needs to be ready to shoot, to put the ball on the floor and attack, or to make a pass. This is the situation, what we like to do and how we like to play, and how I teaching my players. One of the greatest things to attack pick and roll in this situation could be a backdoor cut. Here we have what I show you is a step up screen and hedge out. That could happen also when you play horns or middle pick and roll. My experience says in most situations it will be flat hedge, not strong hedge, but let's say strong hedge happen. Player 1 will use, as always, reverse dribble, and then we use a short roll. Now everything depends where the help comes from. If it comes from the player far from the ball, we will use this pass or shot or penetration. If the help comes from the first line, like here, we send this player to a backdoor cut, force this help, and then we again have this player wide open for shot. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Now, lots of teams are using so-called pick and pop. My experience is that pick and pop is a very, very good way to attack, but if you don't practicing with your players, they will not see it. Now, what happened to me? We run screen, opponent try to hedge out. And what I tell my players, pass ahead. They hedge, pass ahead. And they are not looking this situation here where player 4 is wide open. So maybe we will need to tell them, if John is running to set the screen, he will pop out and look for a pop out. If Marco is going to run and set the screen, he will roll and then look for a pass ahead. Sometimes you need to talk like this with your players. Now, of course, if we run pop out, of course, what I'm saying, when you're teaching your players, it depends on the level where you teach. Sometimes you will need to teach on very low level, sometimes on the high level, and that depends on the players, how they understand basketball. Of course, for Rodriguez or Teodosic or some other very good point guards, this situation, pick and pop, will not be a problem. But if you are just start to teach and you're teaching 10th graders, this pick and roll situation and pick and pop situation will be a problem until they find the solution for it. When we run pick and pop, like in this situation, I want to clean the corner. Why? Because I don't want this player to help. What I want is to force this player to help. As I said, lots of teams will say, we will help from the second post player. So this player will go this way, and this player will try to recover over there. If our 4 is good shooter and very good to put the ball on the floor and attack, it's a piece of cake solution. It's very easy solution. This is solution I like the most, which always force the team to play something different than they want to play. It's so-called ram screen here. You see, number 3 goes and set a ram screen for my player 5. So defensive player 5 will be late to hedge out. What is the ram screen? Ram screen is a screen for the person who is about to make a screen on the ball or pick on the ball. And because they are late, if they continue to hedge, like here, my ball handler can split the defense and we have an easy task to finish. But usually that will force them to switch. So we will have mismatch 5-on-1 and 1-on-5 again. So this situation with a ram screen is good for almost every pick and roll defense. And it's used more and more often, that first we make so-called screen for screener. So number 5 is screener, but first we will set the screen for him here, and then 5 goes and set the screen. This defender here is always late. That will force them to do something in defense they are not used to. And they will need to prepare for it. Usually, it's always offensive advantage than defensive advantage. One of the defense I didn't like to play. Is under and push and under. Push and under is a little bit, how to say, tricky. Now, especially when the basketball rules and referees give a lots of advantage to offense, every push is foul. So previously, when I was coaching in Germany, it was a situation that my player was running for the screen and the defensive player was basically push my screener out of the screen. And very hard. And I had lots of fight with referees to tell them that this is not allowed and this is a foul. So why the teams play this? They played to, when they know that our ball handler is a bad shooter, so they said, okay, let him shoot, we don't care, just go under. And to stop his penetration and passing. Also, when they push a post player, they want to stop him to roll to come to good situation close to the basket. And this defense is basically 2-on-2, and they will try to avoid rotation with other players. So when I'm teaching, I tell my players, set a good screen, be patient, have a good spacing, and look for the timing. Now, what I mean by that, this is this situation. So we have a screen on the ball, and you see player 5 is just behind my screener. He wants to stop my player to roll. So my ball handler will go this way, but defense goes under the screen. Now, very important thing which I mentioned before is to make a movement on the weak side. They think about this. No one is thinking about this screen. So we can use this hammer screen to create maybe an easy pass and easy layup, because both of those players are now here. Paint is open, good screen, good fake, slide, easy pass. Okay. Usually teams are doing, especially when it's handoff situation, always handoff is, in most cases, is always under. So what we are teaching players, if they go under, repick, rescreen. So this is this situation. After rescreen, they will obviously go over. Maybe they will go one more time under. We will set screen again. That's why I say patient. Now, it's a very different how we set screen when we know they go under, and how we set screen when they will go over the screen. Now, when they go under the screen, like in this situation, I'm teaching players that they set the screen with their outside shoulder to the inside shoulder of the opponent. So it will be look like this. So those are legs, let's say. Understand? So when he goes under, he needs to go deep under. So he's late. If we need to rescreen and then we set the screen like this, then this player goes very under. And if my point guard is not ready to make a shot from 5 meters, then okay, go play handball or something else. You are not very good for basketball. I can't play with you if you cannot make shot from 5 meters. So this is how we say. Usually middle chest, but when they play under, outside shoulder to inside shoulder. One of the very good solution, very good solution. One of good solution when they play push and under will be again a RAM screen, but I will not talk about that. I told you, you can use the RAM screen against every type of defense. Now, one of the very good situation which I'd use a lot is so-called flat screen. Now, the coach said, player 5, push screener to the back. And he said, player 1, go under. But when we set flat screen, like here, what is under? And player 5 is like here, so we can easily, it could happen once or twice or maybe 3 times. For me, it happened 3 times in one game. That's the most until they change the defense. That we use this screen and penetration. The good thing is, if it's a good spacing, like we have here, there will be no help on penetration. If help comes from here, it's an open pass for an open corner shot. That is why we will attack the one-man side in this situation. If they rotate from here, we will pass the ball to this corner, again, open shot. So flat screen is very good because this player would like to go under because coach said go under. What is under here? Where should I go? Because I go under if the screen is here, but the screen is not here. So how can I go under? He will always be late. And player 5, he knows he needs to push. So this flat screen worked very well against push and under defense. One of the good offenses, good situation against push and under is so-called corner pick and roll. Now I want to show you a very good situation. I forgot to add it here, but I will do. So let's say that player one, player with the ball, pass the ball to corner. So this player is very low, so it's very hard to play under, but we will make it even more complicated. We will send this player to set a screen here. Okay, so number one cuts, defensive player follows, and now this player cannot take care of push. He needs to take care of this cut. And then we send this player here to set the screen, like here, but this way he will come here. This player will not be able to push, so he will be late. So if this player decides to go under, it will be very deep under, and we have an easy situation here, as you can see. If they make it, they will need to go to something which they don't want to. That's why they play push and under. They play push and under to avoid rotation. So if we do like this, they will need to start to rotate. And this is what they are not good on it. So we will have an easy situation with passing. As I said, corner pick and roll with the back screen, it's a very good situation to stop them or force them to play something else than they want to. And we are closing to the end. This is our fifth way of attacking pick and roll defense. This is ice defense, it's side defense. Depends on terminology. Coaches calling it differently. Someone call it ice, some call it push because you push player to the baseline. Some call it blue. It depends on terminology, but it's ice defense. Our idea is to push the player toward the baseline. Now, I think that how you basically play man-to-man defense determine the way how you're going to play pick and roll defense. If you play chest to chest defense, chest to chest, then you can switch, you can go under, you can even hedge. If you send ball to the middle and help from one pass away, you will probably play kind of contain or hedge out or some kind of defense. But if you send player immediately to the baseline, likely you're going to play ice defense. When I'm teaching, when I'm playing ice defense, I want to tell my players, keep the ball on the side. We want the ball on the side. We don't want them to reverse or do something like that. We want to keep the ball on the side. If ball is on the left, we want to keep it on the left. That's why we try to play ice defense. So how we play against it? And what's our basic idea? We can attack with screen and then, of course, roll or pop. Or we can attack with the pass, cut, and dribble handle. I will first start to showing you how we are attacking with the pass. On 45 here, you see 5 is running for the screen, but defensive player is not following, like in most cases when they hedge or switch or flat. He is going to drop here to stop the penetration. And he will call, depends on the terminology, ice, 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 loud and clear, so, and repeatedly, so X1 knows what to do, and X1 will square and change his position to this, not allow ball to go to the middle. Now, how we are attacking. If we are attacking with the pass, this is our option. So player 1 will make 1 or 2 dribbling to create a bit more spacing, and he will pass ball back to player 5. Player 5 could pop out or could stay around the free throw line, depends. If it's on the free throw line, he could be ready to get the ball and catch and go and attack. This is also a good option. So pass him here, he is attacking. If we pass the ball to the 3-point, this could be a little help and recover from this player here, one pass away, but he will probably not stay all the time because there is no rotation. It's only 2 players here, no chance to rotate. So he will just and recover. Now, number 5, defensive player will recover, and then instead of play against ice defense, we go with the dribble handoff and we force them to play different type of defense. So they want to play ice, but they need to finish playing against middle pick and roll. So it could be under and then we rescreen, depends. The important thing is they don't want to rotate. That's why they are icing. Because, okay, we are fine if number 5 is shooting threes, but we don't want to rotate. We want to play 2-on-2. So no rotation. But we, instead of play against ice, we force them to play against dribble handoff or middle pick and roll. And this is completely different thing. Next situation is the same. Number 1 here, go for a handoff, as you can see, but X1 is playing good defense, so we cannot play dribble handoff. He makes narrow cut. He cut very narrow here, so once in a while this pass could be open. Once in a while this pass could be open. And that will make this player busy to take care of this inside pass. And then we can use dribble handoff and play dribble handoff here with the corner player. It will be very hard for them to play defense. Also, once in a while, we can go and make a fake handoff. So instead of making handoff, our 5 put the ball on the floor and try to finish by himself. It could happen once or twice in the game. Depends how this player defensively reacts. So this is what we do with pass. Again, one of good situation. So number 1, pass ball to 5. Defensive player recovers. 1 start to go for a dribble handoff, but change and go backdoor. Very good solution. Very late help. Easy pass, easy finish. The only help, as you can see, can come from here. And then instead of passing inside, we pass to the wing and play pick and roll with the wing. Again, they wanted to play ice defense and they finished to play something different, what they are not practicing. So if they're practicing ice defense on practice and we force them to play something else. Here, very hard to play, very hard to play ice because it's a closeout situation. This player is late, this player will need to go here to play ice. So they will need to play something completely different. And again, playing ice below the free throw line, it's very hard. So sorry, the free throw line, very hard. Because position of the player is completely different, defensive player. So we will force them again to play something else. They wanted to play ice, we force them to play whatever else, and they are not ready for it. I'm talking about average teams. Most of the teams, as I said, they could be ready for it. They could be ready because of the scouting and everything. At least they will be aware. But if we are using different types of attacking their defense, they can't predict everything. What I'm trying to say, the basketball is a live game and situation on the game changes every time. That's why you need to teach your players to know most of the things. What I'm trying to do and teach my players is very simple way. I'm teaching them if, then. That's kind of my rule, if, then. So if this happened, then you do that. So if that. Now here it's situation when we play when we are attacking ice defense with the screen. It's very important that in this situation we have empty corner. So if we know they're gonna play ice, we will always empty this corner. Send the player to the weak side. Now I'm teaching my players to set the screen with their back, but it's fine if they square and set the screen with the chest. It's perfectly fine. I just think that here, if he's faced my player 5 is faced to the basket, he will see better things than if he's just watching the ball. That's just my opinion. Not only mine, but this is how I teaching the player. Now, if the player 5 stays very deep, then of course I made mistake here. This player 1 is icing, you know, so it's like this. So we set that screen. My ball handler dribbles the ball, and it happens to me also when I play ice that we are late and it's an open shot. Good ball handler, good shooter will always use it. So now if in this situation a player 5 goes a little bit higher to stop the shot, then we will try to attack the baseline. 5 will roll in the middle, and then it's an easy pass. Now, help, of course, can come from any of those players, but then any of my players here are open for shot. So it's not very easy to play defense on that. If this player comes even closer, this player, and try to stop baseline penetration and my player to roll to the corner, my offensive player here will split, go to the middle, force help, and my post player will go opposite. What I'm teaching my post player, if the ball goes left, you go right. If the ball goes right, you go left. It's very simple way. And once we are in the middle of the paint, once the ball is in the middle of the paint, it's very hard to play defense. It's either shot, it's either layup or kick out pass for an open shot. So that's our basic idea. Bring the ball here. Now, this in previous slides, you see player 5 is rolling. Now we see situation when player 5 is pop out. You can do that if your 5 is a good shooter. If he pops out, it's a long way for this player to recover. So they might switch. So we need to be ready to use this mismatch. It will probably be short help. But again, if 5 pass the ball back or goes for handoffs, we will again force them to play something different, which is not ice. And this is our advantage. So yes, they will ice, but after that, if we go with the handoff or pass and screen again, it's not ice anymore in defense. So they will need to play something completely different. Here, if this X1 decides to go under the screen, which I don't know why he will do that, but it could happen. We have a very, very simple situation. We will send 5 in the paint, attack player 5 here in defense, and try to pass the ball inside. Again, help can come from any of those players, but again, it will be an easy outside pass, kick out pass, and an open shot. So we will use mismatch. If they go under, we immediately use mismatch. And we come to our last slide. Again, we have pop-up situation here. 5 set the screen. pop-ups. In this situation, my ball handler is with 2 players. They need to recover, and 5 players decide, no, I'm not going to play with one anymore. I want to go to the other side and play on the other side. That will force the top player here to cut, and we have handoff. If it's not working, then it could be rescreen, and we attack. Again, we force them to play here, ice defense, and they stop it for a moment, and they are like, okay, we stop it, it's fine defense, we are good. We swing the ball, we play on the other side, and they again needs to play something which is not ice defense. So those are situations which I have in my repertoire, how to say. Of course, I'm not teaching my players all of those things. We are going one step at a time. Sometimes I show them one solution and they just play something else and I like it. Then we said, okay, I like that. Let's do it your way. Let's do it your way. As said, it's important for me to tell you that you should listen and watch your players on the court. Sometimes they have very, very good ideas. Very good ideas. Maybe they don't have ideas, but they do something on the court which you will like. In my opinion, it's very good for coaches to watch what's happening on the court, even with your players. Don't be just strict, like you have to do what I tell you. Communicate with your players, and you will find very good solutions just with them. What they are telling you, what they are showing you. I had that situation in last team I coached in Albania. I tried to run one thing, but it turns out that just all of a sudden we do something else on the practice, and I said, well, that's great. This is what we're going to do. So I changed my initial offense to something what my players did on the practice, and it worked. So as I said, you don't need to teach them everything. I just gave you 65 ideas, well, a little bit less. But, so you can use it. You can, of course, try to find your own solution. You can watch some other coaches and find their solutions. As I said at the beginning of this clinic, it's just my idea, how I'm teaching. It's not ultimate. Okay, you have to do it like this, otherwise it's not good. It's about you. It's about how you want to teach your players. But I think that with this, I gave you some ideas which works for me. So I'm using them.
Thank you, Coach. So it's finished?
Yeah, well, that was the last one.
Thank you so much. So one question, Coach. What's, in your opinion, when coaches have to start this teaching these different offenses for their players? Which age groups?
Well, I was coaching when I was in Iceland. I was coaching also lots of young categories, and I was ahead of not only the head coach of men's team, but I was also a head coach of youth, and there was a different coaches under my watch. And for example, I always try to teach, tell my coaches, if you have like 10, 11, 12-year-old players, it's very hard to teach them pick and roll. They don't understand why they need to screen and what to do after the screen. So it's very early. This is basic pass and cut, give and go for young. When they come to 14 years, then I think it's beginning to teach them maybe ball screens, off-ball screens, ball screens, not earlier, because for me, it's much more important to teach them when they are young, 10, 11, 12, when they are young, to teach them ball handling, good passes, cuts without the screen, so pass and cut, give and go, then to teach them to make easy baskets. Do you understand? So, of course, if you have one good player and one a big guy, and they are 12 years old, and they set the screen, and they play 2-on-2, all other players will just watch. They will be happy because the team wins, but, you know, it will not make any sense for them to play. But if all players know how to dribble, how to shoot, how to make layups, how to cut, catch, that makes basketball for kids fun. If you start to running pick and roll, and then with age of, let's say, 13, 14, you have to also teach them defense, because half of your team plays offense and half of your team plays defense. So you need to teach parallel. As I said, you can start, and that's why I said switch defense is our primary defense. We teach them first. So, okay, teach them switch defense, because most of the players come to the senior team with the age of sometimes 16, 17, 18 years old, and they have problem with the basics, which means not tactical basics, the technical basics. So go step by step, I would say. Don't teach them plays, teach them how to play until they at least 14, 15 years old.
Thank you. So if there is any question from coaches, let me know. اگر سوالی دارید قسمت چت بنویسید. علی بفرمایید علی آقا.
Hello, Coach. Super thanks for this informative and helpful lecture. Thank you very much. I want to ask that when the defense plays hard or soft hedge, and the defender in the weak side position leave to help and tack the roller player, I want to know what's your strategy about the best position, best shooter position. You prefer put the shooter in the weak corner or ball side corner or weak wing?
Okay, so I would like to go a little bit back. Let me just try to see. So we are talking about hedge, right? Hedge defense.
Yes, any type of hedge. I want to know the position of your best shooter.
Well, position of my best shooter, I would like to put my best shooters on the two-man side. So as we say here, we see here this situation. If it's it's basic. So you said they would like to help. They help from weak side, from
Yes.
this or this player, right? So, as I said, very rarely it could happen that when the ball is here and 5 is rolled, that they will go and help from this player. That would only happen if this player is, let's say, a player on position 4, and the coach said, okay, guys, I want player 4 to help on player 5 when we hedge out. So only with this player. And then if your 4 is here, if he is a good shooter, he will take a shot. That's why I said this. I want to have those players here. Another thing is, if your 4 is not a good shooter, and so let's say your 4 is here, so this is not 2, this is this situation. When before this happens, we will just exchange them. We will send 2 on top and 4 in the corner. But usually, I would like to have my 2 best shooters on this side, always. As I said, if they give help like here, we will make 1 pass, 2 passes, and it's an open shot. That's why I said I like to attack with the pass, not with the dribble. Because if you know how many times happened this situation in the game, this is usual thing. Player with the ball attacks player 5, and player 5 stays here, and then defender goes under that screen, and then we have again 1 here, defense here, and x5 goes back, and we again have nothing. We need to rescreen again. So that's when we are attacked with dribble. So that's why I'm teaching my players to attack with the pass. As I said, quick pass here, quick pass to the corner if the corner comes from help. Quick pass here if the help comes from this side. Skip pass for a shot or attacking closeout. I hope I answer your question.
Yes, I got it. Thank you very much, coach.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Ali. Another question. دوستان اگر سوالی هست از قسمت چت میتونید بنویسید. So that was so much clearly, I think, because of that nobody have question. Thank you, coach, for accepting my invitation and for this beautiful webinar. Thank you. If you don't have any talking with coaches, let's finish it.
Again, thank you very much for calling me. I hope I helped a bit. I'm open for any type of question. You can send me question, or if not here, you can send questions on my Facebook or on my WhatsApp. It doesn't matter. If you need any other topic to discuss, I am willing to do it. So it was a pleasure to be here. I hope I was not too boring about that. You know how we coaches are. We can talk about basketball for hours and hours and hours.
Yes, it will be great to be with you with another topic in another day. So thank you so much, coach. Thank you. Another coaches that joined us. See you again. Have a good time.
Thank you very much.
Stay safe, coach.
Yeah, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.